Greetings, I'm William O'Flaherty, and I'm still learning about myself as an autistic person.
Hi, I'm Jenny, and I'm still learning about myself.
Hi, I'm MG, and I'm still learning about myself as an autistic person.
And I'm Lisle, and I'm still learning about myself.
Answering, did you experience relief and or grief, or tell us some more about that? And what is something you were relieved about, and what is something that you grieved about?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I would say at one point I did go through grief, and I liken it to the stages of, how when you lose a loved one, how you go through stages like denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. To me, it always felt like that's how I experienced it. I have bounced back through different stages at different points in this journey, and it's been difficult at some times, especially the first 2 years after my diagnosis. It felt like it took me forever to get to a point of acceptance.
The thing for me is having self-acceptance. That was a huge relief for me. Realizing I wasn't broken, I wasn't made wrong, and I could finally just accept that I was neurodivergent. Another thing that I was relieved about was that I had never really believed in anything that I said. Other people's opinions always mattered more than my own. And I researched autism to a high level, and knowing that I was right about all these things I was seeing in myself made me feel actually quite smart. I was like, yes, I finally passed a test. I had the knowledge and I was right. And I think it's just that relief of it's just not something that's in your head. That you research to the nth degree and you believe you are it because you know it so well, but it's actually true. So that was a huge relief for me, embracing that I'm different and not constantly feeling sad that I'm different, but just being excited about the way my brain works. Regards to grief, yeah, for grief for not knowing why I didn't fit in, um, and then suddenly realizing, okay, it's because I was made different. My brain's different. So I had to go through the grief process of accepting that I'm different. And yeah, the grief of being the only one who fought this journey. No one had recognized it in me. No family member, no educator, no friend. It's just something I had to do all by myself. So there was a massive grief journey for me for that because it was a massive fight. And yeah, I still feel that grief actually, that I'm sad for the little MJ that grew up not having anyone see how she was different. I When I shared my diagnosis with my mum, she was riddled with, I guess, guilt. And her guilt I then took on. She was guilty. She was feeling guilty for not recognizing the signs and not seeing it. And my mum's in education too. So she works a lot with children who are different. And she didn't see it when it was under her nose. So I took on her guilt as well and her shame over that. And I felt a lot of grief for her. And I wanted to comfort her because she didn't have the ability to kind of, uh, yeah, she was just stuck on this I've let you down feeling. And I didn't want her to feel that. So it then became my feelings too. Um, so I think she knew I was different, but having the diagnosis just made it that little bit more real.
I was just going to say, isn't that just like us too? There's such a false idea that we don't have empathy. We have so much empathy that it's hard to hold on to our own lived experience emotionally. We take on, and then we take on the responsibility. I appreciate how you put that, MJ, especially as a mother, right? Myself with grown kids. So anyway, okay, relief. I think like, wow, I'm not a failure at being a human being. That was really very validating. Like, this is real. This is a real way of processing. And I make sense and I'm not alone. And a lot of that relief was ongoing for me as I started connecting with the YouTube community. I think that the advocacy there has been remarkable for me to hang on to my soul. So that relief was definitely there. The grief for me was so massive. I am still in the sadness part of the grief where I am not a crier, but in the last year I am often on the floor smothering my face in my bunny and at the foot of the Lord, just feeling so sad. Like I'll never be like most of the people that I know. um all this time trying my hardest to be like others, even coming into a field, and my vocation, I think, was related to that in part. Just that there was a lot of grief, and there still is. It's just a little over.
So yeah, for me, as I noted, there was that initial relief, and then it was later that I really came to grieve things that it's it's everyone's going to go through grief with different things in life, and there's nothing wrong with that. One of the things though that I learned, and I'm probably getting ahead of myself. I think we have some more solution suggestion stuff later, but I'll just briefly share that. I realized that yes, there's a time for that, but also it's kind of like driving a car, that you have the rear view mirror to see the past, but if you are always looking in that mirror, you're going to go really slow in order to not wreck. And so I found that while I do have a tendency to ignore my feelings, that's a whole subject that we won't be getting into, that if I do slow down too much, then I am going to just like not move forward at all. But yeah, it was definitely hard. I had skill regression, and so fortunately with work, I had reached out to HR to let them know about my diagnosis. I ended up taking a leave of absence for a month, and just to deal with the things. And then it was only the first of this year in January where I felt like I wasn't totally going through the motions, so to speak, to where you had to do stuff, and it's become a little bit more natural. So. I'm William O'Flaherty. Thanks for visiting my channel. Please consider liking and/or sharing this video. Also, feel free to comment and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and watch other videos.